Dober večer vsem skupaj. Dobrodošli na našem četrtkovem dogodku v okviru 29. obletnice Pekarne. Z vami sva Niko Šetar, asistent na Filozofski fakulteti v Mariboru, in pa Juan Gamero, ki je režiser filma, ki si ga bomo danes pogledali. Se pravi, gre za film VIVR LA UTOPIA, živeti utopijo, ki je bil posnet leta 1997 v Kataloniji v Španiji in govori o v bistvu dogodku, o katerem se v zgodovini zelo malo govori, in sicer anarhistični revoluciji, ki je potekala v Španiji v 30 letih prejšnjega stoletja. No, pa pozdravimo kar Juana. Juan, if you can just briefly tell us before we start watching the movie. As I just said, and as you pointed out to me, and as the documentary points out as well, the anarchism in Spain is not spoken about very much. It's a fairly unknown chain of events that happened. So how did the documentary came to be made? What's the background of it?
Yes, the story of anarchism in Spain is very few known. Very few people knows what happens in what it's explained in this film. The process was that the channel Arte, I didn't see you. Hello, yeah, you are here, no? The channel Arte, the French channel, asked the Spanish television to make a film about anarchism, like this, anarchism. So I have a colleague in Spanish television, Paco Rios. He was the main researcher in this film, and we finally accord that we will make we explain the whole story of anarchism and the revolution during the Civil War, and just stop in 1939 when the Spanish Civil War ends. Maybe the film is a bit too long, but we wanted to explain the beginnings, the origins of anarchism in Spain, because in 931 to 36, there were 2 million affiliates in CNT, the CNT Union. And coming back to how it started with TV, with a very right government in Spain. And they permit to do this film because they ignored the story. So we could make the film with total freedom because they never see the film. It has a big success in television that what was broadcasted, 1,800,000 people. And the second day, 1,200,000. So 3 million totally in 2 days. It was also broadcasted in Arte several times, in France and Holland and in whole Europe. And this is a bit the beginnings of the film.
Okay, thank you very much. And now, I think that other questions would be more apt for after we've all watched the movie, if you'd agree. Without further ado, we shall now do the projection of the movie first. And afterwards, I warmly invite you all to stay for a couple more questions with one who worked and lived the film and worked with people who lived the era for anything that might occur to you during the documentary. So, hope you'll stay with us in an hour and a half, and let's watch it.
So we had a big drama in Spain because we have lost all the benefits, all the progress of this era, where Spain was a very democratic country, but for a very short time. And then after that, many people went to exile, or the most important part of the democratic people or were assassinated or killed or went to exile. So Spain now has all the repercussions of all these facts, all these. Yeah.
I was wondering, actually, one question I wanted to ask you, and now you kind of started in that direction. You said that the Catholic Church and the right wing feared loss of privileges, etc. But what I was really surprised by when I was watching the documentary, and I'm still kind of confused by, is how come the Communist Party participated with the right wing? Wouldn't they be more sympathetic to, like, anarchist views? I know the documentary says that, like, okay, communism is more authoritarian, anarchism is sort of its liberal counterpart, but still, politically, I would think, one would expect that communism would be more sympathetic to anarchy than fascism.
Yeah, because that was an era of Stalinism, and you here in Slovenia, I think you know what is Stalinism, no?
We are not very well aware of it because, I mean, socialism in Yugoslavia was, for all intents and purposes, much milder.
With Tito was different. It was more self-gestion, no, of the enterprises. But in Spain, the communists, they were Stalinists, and many communists doesn't want that other kind of ideologies. So they want to be the pure left ideology, and they don't let other ideologies to be and to live with them.
But then again, it could be said that anarchism is purer left than communism.
Well, anarchist is from down to up, and communist is from up to down. It's dictatorship. And the anarchist is the opposite, completely opposite. Even if the name is libertarian communism, but we explain here in the film, one comes from Bakunin, which is not authoritarian, so it's very different. It has nothing to do with communism. Even if there is no property, but in Spain, the communists, they remain the properties. And they were allies with the right, because in May 1937 they prefer the communists to kill anarchists than to let the anarchist revolution to survive.
One more thing I wanted to ask you before I turn to the audience. I have a couple of ready just in case, but still. Do you think that when this came to light, I guess, in the 90s after a documentary, probably more people knew about it? Do you think it influenced modern Spanish politics at all? That the fact that Spain had this kind of period and this kind of movement?
After watching the film, or?
Well, yes, after the anarchist movement became more known about.
No, in 1975, when Franco died, the anarchism started to be important in Spain, but they organized a fake crime. Mm-hmm. They set a bomb in some theater. Killed 5 people, and then we knew later that the police prepared this to let the prestige of the anarchists very down. So, and this was a very bad moment, because the anarchists, Frederica Montseny, came back to Spain. They started to have some importance in politics in the political Spain. And after this fact, that was the end of the importance of the anarchism in Spain in the transition. And also the anarchists, they didn't want they didn't accept the transition. The transition and the new constitution it was made between the fascist authorities and some Democrats who accepted the flag, the ideas, some ideas and the justice we have in Spain now is still with people who are in the fascist band, no, in the fascist.
Right.
So, with the years, the anarchists were losing their prestige and the power they had, and also the CNT during the exile, they became more conservative, more. It's very difficult to remain 40 years with strong activity, and many were killed, many were to exile. So, for example, the socialists and the people who were in the government, they had money to go to Mexico or to. But you see, the anarchists, they went to South France, to the south of France, and they would disappear in the middle of after 40 years.
Right.
All these people is dead. So when I interview all these people, they had between 75 and 103 years. There are three centenaries here, people who have more than 100 years. So it's difficult, but what you ask.
All right, now I would like to give word to anyone in the audience. I'm sure that at least someone has some questions. Yep.
I have a question about the anarchy connected to violence and military.
To Biden.
Violence and
To violence.
arms.
To violence.
Yeah.
Oh.
What do you think after doing the research and looking into the period? Is important
I don't hear you. Take a micro.
Yeah.
Take a micro.
No. Let's. Yeah, let's use mine. Yeah. No, you go ahead.
my question is the question of anarchism connected
Bliżej do
to
mnie.
violence. If you, after doing this research and the movie and talking to all these people that were present at that times, some mentioned also the mistake of not using the arms to protect the republic. What do you think about this topic? Is it important that anarchism stays pacifist or use the arms to protect the idea?
But if they were pacifists during the 30s, or because we don't in the film we don't talk very much about violence of the anarchists because it was during a civil war, and
But there is this moment when the communists start killing the anarchists, and some of them mentioned that the organization was against using arms to protect themselves. So this idea that they wanted to stay not military, not to use the same tools.
at that moment in May 37, no, when they are attacked, and they prefer not to, I don't know. It's very difficult to say to suppose what happened when in the history. But the anarchists, they were against a normal army. They wanted to make anti-authoritarian army, which is maybe incompatible with a normal army, but it works. It worked. So they were stronger with their own organization than when later the communists take the power in the army and began to have captains and sergeants. Before they were just comrades and like this. And they were defending an idea also, and with the communists they were not defending any idea and any revolution. And I don't know that the communists they killed, and Andreu Nin was the leader of the POUM, a Trotskyist party. Maybe they could defend, but there would be a a worse situation because they were fighting in Barcelona and led some people to fight against Franco. So they thought at that moment that it would be worse to defend the anarchists than fighting and fighting better too against Franco.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Yeah. Either speak up or come get the mic, one or the other.
Maybe this is loud enough?
Should be.
Okay. My question is, why do you think anarchism became so popular in Spain, specifically in Barcelona? Because Bakunin and anarchist ideas are as old as Marx, but in essence they only really became this popular, like that we had a large-scale uprising in Barcelona. All the other uprisings were mostly Marxist.
But the question is, why anarchism started in Barcelona or has...
Why did it happen only there? Like, why didn't it happen like Cuba or Russia or wherever else?
No, we try to explain this in the film that in not only in Barcelona, in southern Spain there was a very strong, and because of the immigrants that came to work to Barcelona, also Barcelona was so anarchist because of the people coming from other parts, and maybe in Ukraine there was also an anarchist revolution with Magno, but not to arrive to power like in Spain. And I think was the moment against fascists, against Hitler and Mussolini, that they feel the power of Nazism and fascism, and many people came to fight to Spain from the international brigades from the whole world. I think it was the opportunity to make this the short revolution, but because of a war, because maybe if we hadn't a war, it wouldn't be a revolution.
But I mean more like how it became so big, like there was like, like it said in the...
How it so big?
That it was so big, like there were millions of people that were anarchists.
Yeah, because in Catalonia the people is good in organizing things. So they were good to collectivize the enterprises, and they organized also the army who went to Aragon. The people from Aragon then were many people coming from Catalonia also, but also I don't know, in Valencia the orange enterprises, they work also very well exporting oranges to other countries. The people when you have, I think when you have a good idea and good ideals and you want to be you want to make a revolution, there is the spirit. Maybe in other countries would be the same. I don't know, but it happened in Spain, in Barcelona, and because of Barcelona, Madrid also. But in Madrid there were no collectivities, for example.
We still have time for a couple more questions. Yep.
We saw a lot of original videos and photos.
What?
In the movie, we have seen a lot of original videos and photographs from that era. How did you get them? Like from personal archives or?
Well, most of the archives it comes from CNT, the same union. They are co-producers of the film in some way because they let us for free their whole footage, and they collaborated with us. We were filming in CNT in Madrid, and it's unique footage. Also, they had all this material in Madrid, but also in Amsterdam. and the other is television, Spanish television also.
Okay, thank you. Anything further?
Maybe tell us more about how was it to be working with this?
What?
Can you tell us a bit more about how was it working with these nice people?
Kom, ben ik in.
About the people, about the people who were interviewed.
Yes.
How was it working with them?
No, we went to, this film was made in 97, was finished, but we started in June 96, and we went to Toulouse, to the images you see at the beginning. We filmed some documents. We make as a casting because there were so many people, old people, and we select a bit. Some of them who were from the union, others who were from the FAI, others who they were in the government to have responsibilities. Women in Mujeres Libres, in free women. So in different, we select different, because the anarchism is so rich that they have so many, you see all the magazines, and it was a very strong activity. So there were many different perspectives to see the film and to explain. There are 28 people, and some of them, it was the first time we interviewed all these people. This was a story unknown in Spain. Even now, it's very few known, very unknown. This is a pity because it's a very interesting. We see a lot of films about Westerns in the United States, but in Spain we have a lot of stories to tell like this. No?
Yeah. Do we have any other questions? Yeah.
What do you think about this? What is the role of the consciousness? Because anarchism is a movement of poor people, but to get anarchist ideas, you have to be pretty conscious. So how is that with activism and consciousness? Because obviously not many poor people are conscious enough to get the idea of anarchism. So you tell us something about activism. How did it work out?
But now,
No, back in the 30s.
yeah.
No, you see that there were a lot of magazines. They talk about the idea. When an anarchist talks about anarchism, he says the idea. The idea is the anarchism.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But to get the idea, you need consciousness, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Many people, like on the basic level, like because in Spain, like there were so many people involved. How did it work out? Because poor people usually they don't have consciousness. They are like, you know what I mean? Like, how did it work out? How did the activists get to the masses?
Well, the anarchists, they made a lot of work in the enterprises, in the society. They had a lot of influence. They were very well organized. They organized libraries. Overall, libraries, culture, education. Ferrer Guardia was assassinated in 1919. And he was a teacher, and he organized a modern way to organize the schools with a new system, completely. The people wanted to fight against the church, against the army, against it was a drama. They were or very poor people or very rich people, and I don't know. The situation was different like now that we are all the corporations have the power now. So, and then the power was in Spain, the corporations, but also the church, the people who have very big properties. Land.
Why I'm asking, because communism was more popular because it was like it just gave people things. People didn't have to think. Where in anarchism you really had to use your brain. So it was more about education, which is much more difficult. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, the people was more critical than now. You see, no? Yeah, they had more time to learn to read maybe than now.
So what do you think is the heritage of the Spanish Revolution? What do you think in nowadays, in today's society, what did we inherit from that part? Any ideas? What's left today from that revolution?
In Spain, very few. There are some influence. For example, the city council of Barcelona is a woman now in one of was because she lost the last elections. It's very difficult because the media are from the right and they have a big influence to announce fake news and to don't tell the truth. The influence, for example, in the Foro of Sao Paulo in Brazil, many people of the Foro of Sao Paulo came from people who are in the film. Some doctors and professors, they went to exile to Brazil and they started this movement of Foros of Sao Paulo. So the ideas, they are traveling also to other. We lose in Spain a lot with all this war, 40 years of dictatorship and the exile. More or less, there are still 100,000 people who were killed by Franco, and they are disappeared they are under the earth, and we don't know where they are. So after Cambodia, Spain is the country with more people disappeared. But after 40 years of fascism in Spain, the left is also responsible of what happened because they don't make the necessary changes to have a real democracy.
I come from Poland, so in the 80s we had a really strong anarchist movement. So we were we scared that in the Rechak, we were no fucking left, no right, we were fighting communists and we were fighting the fucking church. So in the 80s we were in between as well. So nobody liked us. The solidarity movement was right. And the other hand, about right-wing unions, workers' unions, well, that happened in Poland.
Yeah.
So that was church-based workers' union that was solidarity, which was all right. On the other hand, we had communists, and we were anarchists fighting the government. So we had some federation. But anyway,
the contradiction of anarchism is that they don't want to be in the power, they want to fight against the power, and it's difficult to arrive. They want that all the people, step by step and slowly, they change the ideas of the people, so all the people become anarchists with little steps.
that's what we do up to today. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have any more questions, remarks? Yes, please.
Yes.
So in the movie there was a part about legalizing abortion, and then the movie said that the doctors were against it, and it made me think, the collectives took over the factories, but how did institutions, not necessarily as one institution, but more like the system of institutions, how did that accept the new movement, the new system. For example, I don't know, either the hospitals or universities, also the public schools. I know you founded new schools, but what about the ones that already existed before? How did that change?
Well, you see that the changes that they last very few months. So they gave sanitary conditions and rights to women, and you have to think that the women started to vote in 1934. So the republic started in 1931. In 1933, the right started to govern. So the republic lasted 5 years, and the abortion law, for example, of Frederica Montseny was only in Catalonia, and many doctors didn't want to because the society was still very conservative, and many rules they couldn't be applied in so short time. It was a war, and in parallel, at the same time, during this revolution, there was a war. I don't know. It was very difficult to apply all these new and progressive laws. No sé, I don't know if I answered your question.
As much as possible, probably.
Yes, anything else? Yeah?
Microphone.
I would like you to comment maybe from your perspective the changes that were in Spain after the crisis and the independence of Catalonia and the fight for independence through this perspective of anarchism.
Well, I am from Barcelona. I prefer the independence of Catalonia because we could finish with monarchy, with fascism in Spain, because in Catalonia even the right is not so Francoist as the rest of Spain. And it's easier to administrate a shorter country like, for example, Slovenia with 2 million people. No? In Catalonia we are 7. I think it's better. And to modernize, Spain is like an old empire who wants to be still a big empire, and he's not an empire anymore. But the right is with this vision of Spain, of the big Spain, the flag, and Franco even. We have a lot of monuments of Franco in Spain, and they don't want to destruct the rival. And maybe with Catalonia was the opportunity to modernize our country, at least these 7 million people. But I am more maybe with a federal country, but really federal. But the right doesn't want this kind of federal system.
Okay. Yep, anything else? Any further questions? Okay, if not, then maybe a concluding one from me. The movie mentions several times that it's all about the future, and then the concluding remark of the movie says that the future belongs to the brave. So in that vein, do you think there is room for anarchism as a political, or rather as an anti-political movement in today's society? Especially because there was one interviewee who said that when the people are poor, where there's nothing, no money, there can't be selfishness. And right now, a common argument for example, socialism is that we live in a post-scarcity society in which it would be easier to establish, but maybe for anarchism, the counterpoint stands. So what if, is there political space for anarchism to re-emerge, not only in Spain, but in today's world, in today's really rather individualist society in general?
Well, I think it's very difficult, but in the other part, I think there are many ideas of anarchism inside our society that we don't know that they are anarchist. Like the cure for nature, for example, it was an idea of anarchism. The education without the influence of the church, this was also an idea of anarchists. Naturism, vegetarian way of eating, and there are many things that are anarchist, even when a building like this or an organization like this is anarchist. And there are a lot of cultural movements that are more anarchist, and maybe they don't know that they are anarchist, but there is, I think so, that maybe all the world organized as anarchism is an utopia. I think it's very difficult, but step by step, and maybe in the future.
Okay, so I would like to thank everybody for attending today, and let's all thank Director Juan Gamero again, please.
Thank you.
So thank you everybody, and in the name of MC Pekarna, I would like to invite you all to the concert of our own local Losloa and YT from Belgium over at MC, and that's it from us. Good night.